Hey guys, welcome to Small Talk Podcast. This is episode 2. I'm excited for my panel guests. Everybody introduce themselves.
Hey y'all, I'm Colleen at Queen Lean.
I'm Liv, lovely Livy.
Kadeem, aka Demi.
Okay, a favorite over there, Demi.
Chill.
So,
I don't know what they talking about.
He's holding it down for the male perspectives today. So thank you. This is actually my reoccurring panel, so I'm very excited about that. Thank you for all the positive feedback I got from the first episode. Demi was definitely a favorite. I will say that. he earned himself a spot on the panel. Okay, so how's everybody feeling?
Feeling
good.
Good. You feeling good?
Feeling good.
Shot got me feeling nice.
Oh, the shot.
Did a little shot at class.
the little shot of clock.
Yes.
Okay, so I know one of the things I did want to talk about, I feel like it's been like a lot of like negative vibes and like mental health and all this like crazy stuff happening. One of the things I know that I did want to introduce to the podcast, a new like segment was like timeline talks, and it's kind of like when we cover what's on the timeline, what's current, what everyone's talking about. Mental health is clearly something that's popular right now, and I know like the Jeffrey Dahmer series and all of that stuff. Did any of you guys watch it?
No, I'm not into the murder stories.
My God.
I ain't watch it either.
I'm just not into
None of you guys watched it?
I did see stuff on the timeline about it, though. I did see a particular community in a little bit of an uproar, but
Yeah.
I don't watch it. You watched it?
I did watch it, but I'm like a horror junkie.
Yeah, you.
I'm a
I
horror
love
movie.
horror too.
You do?
But, yeah, I love horror, but I wasn't. You know what? When people talk about things too much, I be like, I don't want to.
Yeah, I could be like that too sometimes.
Yeah.
I kind of, but I don't watch that much TV. But let's get.
What
into
about you, Demi?
Jeffrey.
Me, I haven't seen it. I don't plan on watching it.
Has anyone seen snippets?
Nah, I've seen it on my timeline, but
same.
I guess he like was attracted to like he used to lure in black men or black kids or something like that. When our kids,
It was all, but I think the black communities.
yeah, and he
Right.
would take them home and like get them vulnerable and whatnot, and then eat them or some shit. Like that.
I
Yeah.
saw something crazy like that. That was
Yeah.
enough for me to not turn that on.
So it's been getting a lot of backlash because of that, right? So social media, I know it's been like a lot of like uproar about. I don't know if you saw like Boozy, like, we need to boycott it because the black community shouldn't be watching because he's luring in black men and killing them. But I actually watched it, and I'm a horror movie junkie, so I like true crime.
Yeah.
It doesn't like gross me out or anything. But if you watch it, I personally don't feel like he was targeting black men. That's my opinion, right? He wasn't, but a lot
other races that
like he killed white men, he killed Asians, he was gay.
He was all.
Yeah, so but I think a lot of people are putting it like, oh, he was just killing black men and he's targeting the black community.
Was the majority black men?
Yes.
Then I can see.
But here's why I feel like that, right? So he wasn't that smart, right? He was like underprivileged white guy. He was where he lived at was like predominantly a black neighborhood because he couldn't afford to live anywhere else.
Okay.
So if I'm around if I'm living in an area,
likely, that's why they were the victims.
right? I don't think he was personally like targeting black men. That's my opinion, though.
He honestly did. So I didn't watch the series, but I did read his story. That was I like to.
Right, because it's a real story.
Right, it's a real story.
Yeah.
They said that all of his victims had the same physical characteristics, like body type.
Which was fat.
Like their chests protrude a certain way. Like they're not like breasts, but like a man's chest.
Yeah.
Like the pectoral
like,
muscles.
was
and
it like,
stuff.
were they muscular? Were they built?
No, they were like on the slim.
Okay, it's bird
side.
chest is what he was.
I guess so. Yeah. He had
Very strange
a
criteria.
body type.
You can't do that to nobody like me.
He had a body type.
Why?
But he was. Why
Did
not?
anyone,
fucked
did
up.
anyone look like Demi?
No, but you know what it was.
fucked
No.
up.
Yeah.
But he was targeting men that weren't gay either. The guy that actually got him caught wasn't gay.
That's scary.
But I was just like, how did you get him in your house?
I bet you none of them was over 6 feet or 200.
No, and it was also in
Exactly.
Wisconsin. It wasn't, right? Wisconsin? It was not in New York. I know that.
No.
It was definitely not in
How
New
long
York.
ago was this? Do you know?
In the 80s.
Oh wow. It's a minute.
So I just feel like I don't feel like it was like a race thing. That's just my opinion. And I feel like a lot of the backlash was it was race. It was about targeting black men. That's my
I know for me, I don't like watching shit like that, man. Like I still haven't what's it called? I still haven't watched When They See Us with the
I haven't either.
Central Park
Really?
5.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen
No,
it.
I haven't.
So I have watched it, and I could understand why people haven't.
Yeah, I don't like watching stuff like that because I just feel like it just put you in somber mood, and it just bring your vibe and your energy down. It's the same thing with like slave movies.
Yeah.
Like I know my history and what we went through and stuff like that, but I think the last slave movie I watched was probably 12 Years a Slave. It's just like, it just puts you in an uncomfortable position, and you just be like, man, I don't need that bad energy, bad vibe.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that I agree with you. As a black man, I respect it.
Yeah, especially
right?
as a black
man, I can respect that. But I think it's important to talk about it, right? Because there's white men and white people that have no idea what that is like. So I watched When They See Us, and from my experience, like I literally I know for the last episode when they covered like Corey's story, I literally couldn't watch. I had to pause, and that never happens to me watching something. I watch horror all day. Like I watch true crime. I was like in tears. Like I had to pause it. Like I can't watch this. Like I had to take breaks every 15 minutes. But I do think it's important to have these so that other people, that don't have the same experiences as black men or black people, so they can, see from that view.
And that's the thing. It's true stories. It's just like the George Floyd situation. It's just like once you see that video, you don't need to see that more than once, because it's gonna give you heartbreak. You're gonna be like, yo, I can't believe this shit. So I try to stay away from shit like that.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Speaking for me.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same way. It's definitely traumatizing. I don't like to re-traumatize myself.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
and I feel
in an environment with predominantly
white.
Yeah, it does make it even more difficult. It puts me in a very temporary angry state. Like I just don't want to talk to nobody, and it's just like, you just get mad. Like I just get mad all over again for my ancestors. Like, nah, I'm not gonna talk to you today because I'm upset about what happened. So it's like I try not to.
And I feel like when they film these shows, they don't think about the victims' families too.
Okay,
you see what I'm saying? It's just like, yo,
reopen.
Say that was in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
It's like 30 years, almost 40 years later. It's just like, yo, imagine how that person and family feel when the shit is brought up back to light. You just like,
right?
Yeah, and
just reopening a wound.
Yeah.
I saw people saying that I think some families were like a little like annoyed or upset about that, and I always think that way too. Unless they're in a position to wanting to bring some type of awareness to it, like you have to have some type of respect to kind of like lay off of some.
And if you're doing that, you better pay them victims' families some of the bread you're making off of it.
I do agree with that, right? To a certain extent also, right? But to play devil's advocate, for instance, right? Like, I know Little Boosie was kind of saying similar to what you guys are saying. He was, like, so upset. And he's like, we need to boycott because they're not paying the victims' families or whatever. But then I feel like also let's think about our own community, right? And how we have, like, rap music or drill, which I'm a fan of drill music. I'm from the Bronx. Shout out to the Bronx. But, like drill music and rap music and all the stuff like kind of glorifying violence and gang activity. And it's like, this is just to play devil's advocate, right? I'm making a song. I'm rapping about this.
Rock music glorifies violence too.
Right? Rock music. All right. So perfect example though, right?
I'm going to kill my mom.
But it's like, when you're rapping, you're right. That was a good point.
Analyze us.
But, those families are not getting paid when you're rapping about, I shot up this person or my block did this or whatever the case may be. And you're glorifying, killing the op. This is play devil's advocate. So, do we boycott that music? Is that why they're trying to shut down like drill music or whatever the case may be? Like it's just a different perspective to think about,
Yeah. I can see that.
But
are we going to talk about
personally capitalizing off of getting their op back?
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's personal. That involves you. I'm not thinking about somebody else's op and trying to capitalize on it. Like, these are people putting together a documentary, capitalizing off of someone else's demise.
Yeah.
Now, if they were one of the victims, executive produced this, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the one... Bobby Schmurder said,
right.
I said, I'm sorry, I'm shooting at Jimmy. Shooting at Jimmy. He was shooting at Jimmy. So he's involved.
Yeah.
He can make money off the line. Like, you the one, doing
That's a good
what
point.
you got to do.
That's a
So
good
it's like,
point.
I feel like there's some level of ownership to it that I feel like is missing when it comes to these Netflix documentaries.
Yeah.
It's just like for rap shit. Like, I was super happy to see that the City Girls were executive producers.
Oh, I didn't know
Because
that.
it's like, yeah, this is clearly loosely or closely based on them. So I was like kind of skeptical watching it. But then once I saw it, I felt more comfortable. Because I'm like, come on now.
Yeah.
Clearly Young Miami. But it's just like,
wow.
so it definitely gives me a more comfortable, like, thought process watching it and supporting it because it's like, okay, yeah, because you deserve to get something off of it. So it's like, the victims, I feel like they're not getting anything, I can see the uproar being like, not even watch it. Read it.
That makes sense.
Are we going to talk about this maniac?
Who?
Yeah.
Who you think I'm talking about?
Yay?
Yes. His name is Kanye. I'm not calling him Ye. His name is Kanye. I'm not calling him Ye.
What you feel about the what you feel about the Ye situation? You gotta get this off your chest.
He be bugging out, man. I'm tired of seeing him, man. Like he be bugging out.
I struggle with that. I struggle with that.
I feel like with Ye, time and time again, our community forgives him, and we don't like cancel him per se.
Yeah.
But from a social worker perspective, I will use that perspective, right? He's bipolar,
right,
and he's clearly off his meds. Clearly,
that's an excuse, though.
It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse.
All right.
But I feel like he needs to be. He's having a manic episode. It's clear as day. His mind is scrambled.
It's in the blender.
It's in the blender.
Kanye's mind is in the blender right now, and it's on high speed. And I empathize with him in that respect, but it's just unfortunate of his platform. I know someone who has that disorder, and I mean, if he had a platform, it'd be crazy. So it's just like, not an excuse. I feel like from a standpoint of being, someone with not that much influence, all I could do is just not support.
Right.
Like, that's as far as I could go.
People are doing exactly what he wants.
Right.
I just don't
participate. I know speaking for me, like I haven't bought his shoes. First of all, his clothes is trash. Let's stop. Come on.
Fashion.
Fashion.
I don't, just like the Balenciaga shit people be wearing. Come on.
Wow, because I got them on right now.
No,
I know you're talking about the cloggers. You're talking about the cloggers, right?
Those are nice. I'm talking about the ones that look like
Skechers.
I'm talking about the ones that look like Skechers.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I want to talk about
y'all
my
wearing
Opti-me,
those? Be honest.
My new Opti-me.
Nah, I agree with you, but he's doing what he knows people are going to do, right? The whole White Lives Matter thing. He knows that's going to cause an uproar.
That was too much.
He know what he be doing, and that's what be getting me tight.
So why feed into it?
Right. But what made you upset about seeing that whole White Lives Matter thing?
It's like, out of all the things you could be doing, you choose to put that on the back of a hoodie and a shirt.
I get what you're saying.
But why does it bother you?
Cause it's like what Bootsy said. It's like, that was like our thing per se, and I understand like she was making profits off of it, the lady or head of the organization or whatever. But don't take something we was using for us to like empower us and then like put it to you just because you making a fashion statement. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right,
I ain't like that at all.
I feel like it might be a play on him trying to oddly bring some attention to something that's clearly a fact. Yes, we all know White Lives Matter, but it's just like to take that approach. I don't appreciate the approach he's taking. So for whatever method to the madness that he has in his head right now, I just don't appreciate the approach he's taking. So it's why I just kind of sat out of like,
Yeah, Casanova made a point though. He said his kids are half white.
I saw that.
Right? So his kids are half white. And his baby mother is white, right? And it was a lot of like talk about that, a black man dating a white woman, right? So if I have white kids and I say White Lives Matter, this is me playing devil's advocate. What's wrong with that?
We know they matter though. They've been mattering. Is mattering a word?
That's the
I don't even know mattering is a word.
I agree. No, I 1000% agree with you. I think a lot of people are focusing on that actual movement that I forgot the lady's name, the founder, BLM. She was like laundering in money and stuff, but let's be real. There's a lot of white organizations that do the same thing.
Hello.
Hello. So it's like, can I really be mad at you? Like,
I just hate when people try to relate Black Lives Matter to the organization. When I say
me too,
Black Lives Matter, I'm literally
I can separate
talking about
the two.
Exactly.
Like, my life matters.
Exactly.
That is not a political statement, which very much irritates me how it becomes one. It's as plain as the three words are. Black Lives Matter, and it has nothing to do with any organization, any march. Right. It's just a simple fact of it. So it's just like I disassociated completely. I don't even know.
Me too. I didn't even know. To be honest with you, I didn't even know about the whole organization. I thought that was just really our
hashtag, whatever.
And I just feel like he needs some, like, on some real shit, caring about the artist and the person, and a guy that's a black man that has kids, like he needs some real solid people around him. He need people to take his fucking phone.
Yeah.
Like,
don't text that nigga.
Can you imagine?
He's medication. Like he's having a manic episode.
Like,
he's having
can
a
you
manic
imagine you
episode.
text him? You like, yo, I know this nigga about to post my shit on the gram.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, bro.
I think I text something wild.
And I think it's I would not text that nigga back, but
You know your shit going on the feed.
I might have to FaceTime you.
over and over.
Yeah, you got to call him.
But I also think that, and it kind of brings me into the next topic, right? Because, you know, Kim Kardashian was his baby mother, his wife, whatever, with the whole interracial dating thing. So do you feel like that has some type of impact on, like, his behavior post the relationship falling apart? Him dating a white woman? Because a lot of people feel like if he was with a black woman, none of this would be happening.
Probably not.
He would have got checked.
Yeah, I think he would have got. I think he would have got rather checked and put in a corner a minute ago.
A long time
To a
ago.
hospital. Even
Yeah, that's
to
crazy.
strap him down. Some people need it. He's not taking his meds. Either way, I'm pretty sure it plays a part. But I feel like it was like the falling apart of their relationship. Like we all know, when you're about to lose your other, you feel like you're dying. So
Right.
it's just like he's probably just continuously falling apart, and then he's also a person falling apart who's bipolar. Like
Right.
you know, like it's a lot piling on there. Again, not excuses, but I feel like it definitely plays a part. But I think just in the role of the demise of their relationship, like he's just going through it.
So how do you guys feel overall about the whole interracial dating, right? Like black men dating white women, black women dating black white men. Like, how do you feel about that overall?
It's I separate two. So the dating part to me is not that big a deal. For me personally though, like I'm marrying a black man. Like I need a black man in my life. I need that person. I need him to be black because there is many, not even just a little bit, many experiences that another man of another race could not be able to relate with me. He would not know what spaces I need to be absolutely protected in. He just down to the music. Like I need you to know what's going on, and outside of a way of fetishizing the black culture, because there's people in interracial dating situations where the other person is clearly just fetishizing, which is rather annoying in my opinion. Like, yeah, you feel like, oh, I only date black men. I only listen to hip hop, and like I want braids, but I can't have them. This is a fetish. You don't really love the person because of their personality. You literally love them because they're black, which is also wrong in my opinion. But me, I need a black man. Marrying a black man. Dating, you can have some fun if you want to. I would have some fun, like, in that respects, but as end game, like, always gonna be a black man for me.
What about you, Liv?
So I haven't dated, like, outside of my race, but I am open to it. And it, like, I feel like I wasn't always that way, but definitely now, like, starting therapy, I realized that as a black woman and dating exclusively black men, right? We're not, the people that I date, I should say, right? We're not equipped to actually be functioning in relationships. And the reason why I say that is because I come from a broken home. A lot of the men I date also come from broken homes, right? And we don't have an ideal of what to look up to for a healthy relationship. So as a result, we end up basically being in like these struggle love situationships, right? And it's not like struggle love, like we don't got no money, we ain't got no food. It's just like we don't have the tools to have a healthy relationship. And
Preaching,
like,
my girl is preaching, child.
and now, like, I'm in therapy, right? To work on myself, work on my flaws, become a better person, realize like the things that I'm not even conscious to. And unfortunately, the men that I date are not open to doing the same. Like, they're not going to therapy, right? They're not open to seeing a therapist. And I'm tired of struggle love. And yes, I have my flaws, but I want to be able to date someone that I can build a healthy bond with. So I'm open to, and I'm not saying like only white men, only Asian men, but you know, I want a healthy relationship. And if it takes me leaving my race to have that, I'm open to it.
I just want to shout you out before we get to Demi, just for taking that step to even do therapy, because I know that's something that's not talked about a lot in our culture. So shout out to you for taking that step forward
man.
and breaking the cycle, right? Because we constantly talk about this cycle in our community and like these broken homes we come from, and we blame our parents and our trauma and like our upbringing in our neighborhood. But what are we doing about it to change it? Exactly. So you taking that step forward, it's very commendable. Congratulations, and I'm very proud of you for that. And for you new boo, that's whatever race, whatever race. Shout out to him, okay? What about you, Demi? How do you feel? How do you feel about it? Interracial dating.
I mean. Of course, I love my black queen.
Yeah, I was about to say on a panel full of black women. Just be careful what you say, okay?
I love my black queens. That's my preference.
Yes.
But the way I grew up is, you gotta be with who makes you happy, man, and who brings you peace. Like my family said, no matter what they is, they could be Chinese, black, white, whatever. As long as they bring you peace and y'all happy, y'all growing with each other, that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
But my preference is the black woman.
Okay. We want to commend that also.
Simple.
Okay, but you're not opposed to dating any race, which is...
Not at all.
Have you dated outside your race before?
Never.
Okay. What about you, Khalid?
Have you?
Halfway.
Okay.
They were half Nicaraguan.
Okay.
They were mixed.
But Spanish people black.
Spanish people,
that's how I look at it.
But that's still interracial dating, though.
Is it? So let me tell you my experience, right? Because... And I feel like this is something that's not talked about enough, right? Because I'm black and Hispanic. Mm-hmm. So, it's always the conversation of like, black and then white, but nobody talks about like the mixed kids, right? The biracial kids, the black and white kids, the black and Spanish kids, right? So, like my preference is black men. That's my preference. But growing up as a biracial woman, right, black and Hispanic, I did get a lot of heat from the Hispanic culture, which kind of like made me like, I'm good off Spanish, right? like I'm good off them. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. And it really comes down to, I grew up, I'm from the Bronx, which we all know, right? Shout out to the Bronx.
Yes, all day.
But I'm from Uptown in the Bronx. So for those of you who don't know, that's predominantly Caribbean, Jamaican, black, right? So I didn't grow up like in the South Bronx area. That's more Spanish. Mm-hmm. And my experience with like the Spanish culture, all my experience with racism, 90% of it came from the Spanish community. So it kind of made me build up like this wall where it's kind of like, I felt like I ain't fit in. I kind of felt like, I'm good off them. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them felt like they were better than black people. I'm like, at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we sit in front of the white man, they looking at us all the same, right? We're not white. So I think that's what kind of reinforced me kind of leaning more towards the black community because I felt more accepted. I never experienced really racism like that from the black community, but I always felt conflicted. Mm-hmm. I always felt like I never belonged. My identity, I struggled with my identity because it was kind of like, am I the Spanish girl? Am I the black girl? I'm both, but like, when I would chill with the Spanish kids, they would treat me like the black kid until they would come and see my mother's straight from Puerto Rico, South Bronx, Valentine Avenue.
Boricua.
So they would be like, the Spanish kids would come to my house and they'd be like, yo, my mother speaks, my mother speaks. Yeah. She's straight Boricua, okay? Yeah. But then my dad is Haitian. So it's like, the Spanish people would treat me mad.
Sao passe.
Okay, ma boule, okay? So, so I feel like I struggle, and that kind of carried over into my dating and my preferences. Mm-hmm. I preferred black men. I felt more comfortable. I felt more protected with the black community versus Spanish men. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I don't fit in. I feel like the outcast. They treated me funny.
You fit in over here.
They were treating me crazy. And it was like, I hated that because I want to be proud of who I am. I want to be proud of, I come from Puerto Rican roots. You know what I'm saying? But in that community, I was never accepted. So then it carried over into dating where it's kind of just like, I'm good. I'm good for y'all. Like, y'all making me feel crazy over here,
So you've never dated outside your race? Well, your other half of your race? Have you ever dated someone Hispanic? No.
I have, but like they were like fake Spanish. They were like from Edenwood projects and shit. Like they was like,
what is Spanish? Like what were they? Because fake Spanish sound like Dominican.
Fake Spanish to me is kind of like me. Like I feel like I'm fake Spanish. Like
you're not fake Spanish.
I'm Spanish, but I grew up in a black community, so that contributed to my personality, right? So I'm more so like I could go to like a Jamaican party and vibe and feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable if I go to a party they playing straight reggaeton and all that. You know, but shout out to Bad Bunny because I know like
I fuck with Bad Bunny.
I fuck with him too. But you know, like I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like me. Right? I felt uncomfortable.
I have a question. Do you think that as an adult, maybe you would be open to dating like an Afro Latino, like someone like you? That
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm
where you
wondering,
can
like,
feel
have
more
you?
seen,
Yes.
and you guys like can validate each other with y'all experience.
Yes. I feel like I could do that. I don't think I would feel comfortable dating like a straight hick person that's like straight out the heights.
Wild out with that one.
That is derogatory.
Is that not derogatory?
Absolutely. You
It
should
is?
know that.
A hick.
I've never heard that.
A hick.
No, what's the?
I don't support that view.
I'm saying that.
I don't support that
Okay,
view.
well, this is ignorant because we didn't know that was
I don't
derogatory.
support that view.
I've never heard that.
So a hick is. I never knew it was. That's how disconnected I am.
Same thing as saying that.
Like a white person, a cracker.
S word.
What's the S word?
SPI. What's
Oh,
the difference
sick?
between the S word and the H word?
I don't think it's a different. I think it's just another one.
Oh, okay.
You could pick.
But
one.
that's how far removed I am.
Right.
You
I've
see?
never heard
though
You
don't
see? You
flirt.
see how far removed I am? Which is crazy
Yeah.
because my household is Hispanic. But my community, right, my peers, where I went to
Yeah.
school, my environment was all black.
gravitated towards the black.
So then
I learned a new word. One of them
you
give
never
me tight.
you never heard hick?
Gotta relax.
Don't use
Well, I didn't know that, so I don't want to offend anybody. But like somebody that's very like into the Hispanic culture to the point where like because you know even my grandmother, she was like straight from Puerto Rico. She was racist, right? And that I knew, and I never connected with my grandmother off of that, right? Because I'm half black, so it was like, and you know they're old school,
Yeah.
So the old school is way different than the new school.
You know what's crazy? Like when I went to DR, I'm at the resort or whatever. All of them look like me,
Yes, that's what
like darker
it blows,
than me.
It blows your mind.
But I always used to say, Spanish people are just Haitian people that know Spanish.
That's it.
Yeah, there you
They're
go.
on the same island.
But DR and Haiti, they're at war.
When I'm
It
in
is a
DR, I'm
language.
going through the whole
If I
resort.
sat here and started speaking Spanish and told someone I'm Dominican, they're like, okay, like
Yeah,
I'm-
Hondurians, Dominicans,
Panamanians.
they're dark. Yeah, they're
I'm
Panamanian.
going through the whole resort. I'm like,
yeah, they look just. With that,
We
with that,
family.
with that,
Speak the
that
language
comedian
of our
Jeffrey.
kind.
I know black nunca. I know black,
But that's what I'm saying. It's just,
There you go right
skin
there.
tone.
and that was in that spic definition used as an insulting and contemptuous term for a Spanish American person. So spic, I do
use
know.
it.
I do know spic.
It's offensive.
I have.
say the N word.
Yeah, and you know the first time in my life I ever experienced racism was from a white person calling me a spick. That was the first time. It was I went to school in a real small town that was nothing but white people. People don't even know the name of it. It's Schuylkill Haven. Nobody ever heard of that. So it was like with a lot of Amish people and stuff. And yeah, I got called a spick, and they were like throwing stuff at me. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's
Yes, it was
throwing things at you.
Yes, because and you know that's why I think college is so important too. Because I went to college, I left New York. Right in New York, we don't know about. We think we know about racism, but you really
Yeah.
don't until you step out of New York.
That's a
right?
fact.
Yeah.
So
That is
I
a
went,
fact. I agree
yeah,
with
and you know that because
I
you're
live
not,
down south.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I went to school in PA, that was the first time I really experienced racism. I was like, what the fuck is this, right? So you think, right, from watching stuff on social media and stuff, like,
Right.
yo, I would react this way. I would do this way
Until you in
until you in it, right?
until you in
So
it.
I was in a school where the whole town was white, right? It was 7 cops in the whole town. Right, and they had it was so many white people that they felt comfortable. They used to have KKK parades
Oh,
in 2012, right? So I'm like, wait a minute. I thought I wanted like a fucking time machine. I'm like, yo, this is like, y'all do this? They had, at that time, Obama was running for his second term. They had billboards calling him a monkey, like billboards on the highway. I thought I stepped into like the 1950s, bro. And I was scared because I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
naturally you would think, yeah, I would do this and that until it's bad at them and it's one of you.
and you
Yeah.
outnumbered.
That's the thing.
And you outnumbered, so they would call me a spick. They would do this, that, and I used to be like, I was scared. Like, what
Real
can
in
I
the
do?
field.
God, that's actually crazy. I've experienced racism from a white person at work when I was young though, so I just like ran out the office. But like my white supervisor was going in, like I heard her screaming at them, like telling them to get out. Like, but it's really shocking when it happens to you, like so blatant. Like they blatantly wouldn't talk to me. Like I said, hi, how are you? How may I help you?
Dub.
And looked on me, hi, excuse me. And my manager looked, she was like, she's talking to you. Oh no. Like, but the country club that I worked at was known, they had racism things open and they were known for racism, but I just never experienced it. And when I did, I think that was my last summer working there. And that was also my manager's last summer work there too. She was like, I'm done with this
Couldn't
place.
take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it's actually very shocking when it happens to you the first time, but let that happen again.
Right? Let it happen.
Don't catch me
one
now.
time.
Don't let this come.
What about you,
Don't
Liv?
catch me now.
No, I haven't had any like racial encounters, thankfully.
Great. Thank God.
Yeah.
You either, Demi?
I wouldn't say I have
Not
any,
so blatant.
yeah, but I would say living down south is like when I'm well, for a lot of people that don't know, I used to live in South Carolina. It don't get more country than that in a sense. But just I'm from the Bronx, I'm from New York.
Shout out to the Bronx.
All day. But just being there, I was introduced to new things, just seeing the Confederate flag like freely, having white neighbors.
Yeah.
Like shit was just new to me.
Yeah.
So it's just like, for instance, we lived in a kind of the suburbs, but it's called a cul-de-sac. For a lot of people that don't know what a cul-de-sac is,
Yeah.
it's like a circular.
I don't know what that is.
It's a dead end.
Yeah, it's like a dead end, but like a circular.
Yeah, like
circular
roundabout.
environment
It's
with
roundabout.
a roundabout with like houses around it. You know what I mean? So our neighbor would legit, like our house would be in the middle, and our neighbor would legit bypass our house and go talk to the other houses and the other neighbors, and it's just like, okay, we not here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
But those experiences kind of shape you.
Right, and then my
Yeah.
dad would teach me yeah, that's what they do. You just, he's like, it don't bother me, but you just keep an eye open to it. It's shit like that.
Yeah.
You just make, okay, I see how that moves.
So hearing all of that, right, for me, right, it makes me like understand like the uproar, right? Because I know like a lot of black women, it seems to happen, right? When a black man's dating a white woman, they become upset. Just knowing all these experiences, knowing the history, knowing all of that, because it's kind of like, how dare you, right? Like, how dare you? Because knowing the history, knowing all the things, because at the end of the day, right, their family or our ancestors, we was probably slave to that family ancestor if you're dating a white woman, right? So I think that's why I understand it, and I think it's important to note that. Even though I'm pro like whatever preference, whatever makes you happy, and I understand. I think Liv made like an excellent point, right? Because our upbringing, most of us, right? Our upbringing is broken homes, and we don't have the tools, and we don't know what a happy home looks like, right? A lot of us didn't grow up with a happy two-parent married household. Some of us were fortunate for that, but that's not like the trend in the black community. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but that's.
I feel like we breaking that though.
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
absolutely.
Slowly but surely.
I do think that.
And I think I tweeted this like a couple weeks ago. It's like, I love when I'm like walking or something, and I see a black man with his kids. That's like, I love seeing that. That shit is dope.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, luckily for me, I've always seen black love couples.
Yes, your parents are lit
together.
Her parents
like
are the Cosbys, okay?
30-something years. Like, I'm grateful enough. I've always seen that displayed. I've never seen my parents argue.
I love that.
Until I was like 26, and it was something I was able to comprehend. Like,
By that age.
Never saw, even with aunts and uncles, like I've seen nothing but two-parent households.
Right.
So it
That's a blessing.
That's a blessing.
It does break my heart in a sense, but I definitely know people's experiences are validated, but the only thing for me is I like to speak on it because I want people to know it is attainable, it does exist, and not just a one-off. Like I've seen like 3, 4, 5, 6 families that are like two-parent household from beginning to end. I don't see violence. I don't see screaming. I don't see yelling.
That is
I
a
definitely
blessing,
was able to witness
child.
that in-house. And so for me, I know it's something that can be attained, and I would only hope, and I love to see when black couples do like promote that exists, and they go to therapy so they can make it happen and work towards, because it's not to invalidate. Like, that experience is valid, not seeing it, not being able to know what to emulate, but it does exist. And, I hope, the community grows to a point where it's like something that is more the norm, that more people just start to say this. And I think we're well on our way, to be honest. We had so many, due to social media, so many terrible black experiences be broadcasted so harshly that I do feel like it brings us together in a way. And like, we just want that black love displayed in all corners.
So
And that sets the bar for you too, because it's like
Yeah, I was just gonna
you
say
seen that growing up, so now you know that's what you want.
That's what I
off
want.
rip.
Right,
That's what I
and
want.
you're fortunate enough to have that experience,
Right.
opposed to
Absolutely.
like Liv's perspective, which some people don't have fortunate enough to have that experience, but it's like she's doing the work. So
Right.
now we got to put in the work with dating, right? Because dating is hard. It's not easy, especially like she said, she's open to taking that step to doing therapy. A lot of Black men aren't, because of our environment and stuff like that, or we don't know what's healthy dating, for instance, right? And some guys that just want to date just to date, they want you to be their mother. And it's like, I'm not signing up for that, right? I'm not signing up to do that. And that kind of, go to therapy. If it's one thing I want to do with this pod is to promote that. Go to therapy, mental health. We all need it. You're not crazy if you go to therapy. I'm an advocate. I'm actually a therapist too.
What's that post you sent me?
So that was a good point, right?
Yeah.
So one of the posts I also want to touch on here on the topic of dating was
You want me to read it?
you can read it. Go ahead.
It says, a man, y'all hear me? A man who's not financially stable should not be dating, or looking for love.
Okay.
Okay.
Sips wine.
Freaking wine. Absolutely.
First off,
Right. Get into
Wait,
it.
does anybody disagree with that?
yeah. Does
You
anybody
want me to read it again?
read it one more time? Read it one more
In
time.
case
One more
you
time for
didn't
the
hear.
people in the back. One more time for the people in the back.
A man, a king,
A provider,
Dragging it.
a real man,
Y'all are
not a boy.
a man who's not financially stable should not be dating or looking for love.
Does anybody disagree with
You
that?
want me to
Let's
start?
hear from Demi first because he's the male. He's the male holding it down for their
All
perspective.
right. So, speaking from a man's perspective, I know for me personally, this is, if y'all haven't seen the other podcast, I vented and I said I lost the love of my life because I wasn't ready and I wasn't financially stable. I wasn't the person I wanted to be physically, mentally, spiritually, all that, and I had to get my shit together. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with it because until you financially stable, nowadays females, they go on Instagram, they want to go on trips. We all see it. We all see this
taking
shit.
us
Social media influence, which we
We all
spoke
see
about
this
on the
shit.
first episode.
And I'm the type of person, I feel like if I'm not gonna be the best man for you, or I'm not gonna be the guy, the knight in shining armor you see and you think you should want, I'm gonna set you free.
And let me there we go. That's it. And I just want to say, for the sake of all the women you date in the future, I appreciate that. I'm gonna speak for them. We appreciate that. I appreciate that. What about you, Liv? How you feel about that?
About that statement?
Yeah.
Ooh, get into it.
Oh shit.
I said the girl.
Get
Liv was another favorite. I just want to add that.
Right?
You be holding it down.
This is no shade. I'm not trying to like diss anybody, right?
Diss 'em.
But I like, now that I'm older, right? I'm an adult. Like I was dating people I had no business dating.
Okay.
I was dating a lot of men that were not financially stable. And to be fair, I was young and I wasn't also like I wasn't, but I always had a hustler mentality. Like I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get a job. And even if it's a job that's undesirable, I'm gonna do it until I get something that I want. Right? But then I would date men that don't have the same mindset as me. Like if I'm not out here making 6 figures, right? I'm not gonna do nothing. And I dated people like that. And it's just like carrying the weight of that. And now that I'm an adult, I would never do that to myself.
Yeah.
Young girls, if you out there,
Hello.
paying a nigga phone bill, y'all don't eat when you go to his house unless you paying. Girl, leave that. Do not waste your time.
You can't go out on
Stay
dates.
single.
You
Stay
paying
single.
for the dates. Don't do it. We're speaking from experience.
Speaking
Right?
from
Out of there.
experience.
Run out of there.
Out there.
Can I see something else?
Yeah.
My shit is together now. Just in case y'all was wondering.
Love
My
it.
shit is together now.
That's the girl.
The bag is
love
up.
is
The bag is up.
Go text the girl.
We can do whatever now.
Go text
My
the girl.
price went up.
Hey.
My price went up.
I will
love that.
co-sign Kadeem. He doing his thing. I'm very proud of you.
You know, God did.
Yeah.
God did.
Give yourself some credit though.
Young-
Kadeem, how old were you when you was in that space?
I was 20, 27.
All right, never mind.
But what I will say
I was gonna say like 22, 23. I'm like,
no. Kadeem is our age, but what I will say, and I will like acknowledge this about Kadeem that I respect, right? You're not speaking for the broke man mentality, right? So
I wasn't broke. I just wasn't.
But there's a lot, or the hood nigga mentality, right? Let's put it like that, right? Because
hood rat, didn't he?
No, he was not. So that's what I'm saying. He's not speaking from that.
He's not.
He's not. Yeah, he's not speaking from that mentality. But there's a lot of guys from experience, right? I could say it, right. Like me and Liv, we grew up in the Bronx, uptown area. So it's different. The type of guys we dated, very similar. Broke. And
not only broke, but was fine with being broke.
That's
fine with your girl taking care of you.
There we go. And that was the issue, right? Like I was definitely at a younger age. I was definitely the hold it down. Now growing at entering the 30s era and all that. You don't have time for that, right? You don't have time for that. So there's a lot of men will be selfish, right? I don't want to lose her. So I'm going to date. I'm going to do this because of what I get from the relationship. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person, but your mentality, which ties back into, you said, the environment, how we grew up, and all these things. You don't know any better, right? Yeah. And I've heard that one too many times, like you said, from niggas. Like, I'm not making 6 figures, or I'm not making a lot of money, right? So I'm not going to do nothing at all, right? I'm not okay with going to Wendy's real quick and getting an application to try to get some type of money coming in. And sometimes you have to swallow your pride and do that. And it's hard. It's hard for men, especially in the era we're growing in, right? With social media, scammers, right? We see drug dealers, whatever. And I respect whatever, right? It's no judgment. It's no judgment. But it's like, this is the era we're growing in, right? It's trips, Chanel bags, this and that. And realistically, can a 9-to-5 guy make that? Not necessarily, but me personally, I would respect if you trying, right? You working, you have goals, you have admiration, you working towards something versus I don't have nothing going for myself, but I don't want to lose you. So I'm gonna be with you.
And I would say that was never me. I'm never cool with just coming over to your crib and just chilling or nah, I'm the type like that's why I said I had to get my shit all the way together. That way, you want to go on a trip? Let's go on a trip. You want to go have date nights every Friday? Let's go have date nights every Friday. You want to do this? You want to do that? So that's what I meant when getting your shit together. And what I mean is, you got to be working to get your shit together.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't just be half-assing. You got to you got to really get your shit together and be working on yourself.
And it's not easy.
It's not.
It's not an easy thing for a man. I will say that. I'm not a man,
ambitious quality. Right. That's usually really all. Like, if you're not comfortable with being broke, then most women can.
I can work with that.
Yeah, they can work.
I can work with that.
Because then essentially you're giving me something to even help you with, to help you work towards. But like Liv was saying, like as far as being okay with being broke, like that's unacceptable.
And it's like we come up right, and it's you want me to be your mother. Like,
absolutely not.
I'm not your mother, right?
Go to therapy.
Go to and to answer all of this. Go to therapy, right? And it kind of ties into the last topic I had that was about dating and stuff, right? Just because this is something we were talking about, me and Liv, about platonic friends, right? Mm-hmm. So for people that don't know what that means, right? That's like me and Kadeem are platonic friends, right? Livia and Kadeem platonic friends, where we're just friends, we're different sexes, but we're no sexual relations, right?
My sister.
That's like my
12
that's
years
like my
up.
That's my brother. We all been here friends 10 plus years, right?
Facts.
So and never anything other than that, right? Never. We've always been friends. So coming from the dating perspective, right? Knowing that because I know you personally, I know you have a lot of female friends, right? Mm-hmm. That's platonic. Right? Do you feel like you could date somebody that had platonic male friends?
As a man, I'm not even gonna lie. That's tough.
Why? For you, why is that hard when you have platonic female friends?
No, but that's what I'm saying. You would if we dating or whatever, you would have to tell me off rip like, yo, this is my friend. This is what we did, and then vice versa. We would have to share that as we're dating. You know what I mean? You can't just hit me with a haymaker. Then I'm just like.
So no new friends. No new friends.
No, you can have new. I'm not like, like over your back about it, but. It has to be a conversation that's had because everybody got different insecurities too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Respect them.
You know?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. What about you, Liv?
I'm cool with my man having female friends. There just has to be, like, we have to have conversations about it.
Exactly.
For me to be okay with it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What about you? Okay.
I'm okay with platonic friends. There is a level of respect that absolutely needs to be there. Mm-hmm. There's things that are absolutely acceptable and inappropriate. And as we get older, those are two things that it doesn't take that much brain power to understand what it is. Like,
right, I agree.
if y'all was platonic friends and homegirl was going over to your house to watch movies at 2 a.m., cool while you're single. When you get in a relationship, she shouldn't even have a problem respecting the fact that that's something like that is just not going to happen again. Calling your friend at 11 p.m. to talk about her man got her crying, no, that's not appropriate. Like, go talk to your homegirls. Like, I love my women friends, and you know, I've never had a male friend that I needed to confide in like that. Like, that's for my man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's boundaries and respect levels that absolutely need to be there. Platonic friends are fine. I don't believe a man and a woman needs to be that close.
Yeah.
Like, I think to a certain extent, if you are heterosexual, why not be together? Other than that, there's things that, you know, just need to keep a boundary, especially if you get in a relationship. And I think both friends should be able to handle that. And when you come across a friend that is not able to handle that, it feels like there's obviously something underlying.
Yeah. I agree.
So it's just like,
I
cool with
agree.
it to an extent.
I definitely, I'm thinking about myself. I have a lot of male friends that's platonic that I've known since I was a tomboy. So it's like they remember me from being a tomboy. You know what I'm saying? And I could understand dating somebody new. I'm not a tomboy anymore. So it's like they looking from a male perspective. They like, girl, please, that nigga want to fuck you. And I'm like, no, that's my friend. Like, what are you talking about? Right? I sound naive, but I noticed when what I always struggled with, right? When I did have platonic friends, you know, I like to think of myself as an attractive woman, right? And if I'm friends with an attractive guy, his girlfriend will be like something like unfollow her from Instagram. Me personally, I wouldn't do that, right? I'm cool with a guy being, if I'm dating a guy, being cool with, you know, him having female friends if there's boundaries set. You know, I never was the type of female to show my insecurities like that, where it's like, you gotta unfollow her, or you gotta, you know, I would never give anyone the benefit of the doubt to think I'm that insecure. Even if I am, you know, like you could be friends as long as there's boundaries, as long as, like Colleen said, 2 a.m. Yeah, that's not going down. But
you're not swinging by.
But if you guys were friends before we got into a relationship, I'm gonna respect that because I have male friends that are attractive, and I know that we're platonic friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that we're running down on time, so I want to thank you guys.
Oh no.
I know we did have a few more topics, one more topic, but it's okay.
We'll get to it next time.
Next time. So I want to thank you guys for coming. I think the message for this episode was,
go to therapy.
go to therapy, okay? It's okay to try to, you know, work that stuff out.
That appointment.
Follow everyone on Instagram. I'll tag them below. Subscribe to our channel. We're also now on TikTok, so follow us on TikTok.
Really?
TikTok, Spotify. What's the thing? Kadeem, do the dance.
Put that shit on. Put that shit on.
YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you guys.
Look us up.
All right.